FM News Talk 97.1. On-demand audio.
Going right now to the man that's been making all of the headlines, Congressman Todd Akin joins us on the phone, and I appreciate you joining us. I know that you've been weathering a storm right now.
Well, there has been really a big storm going on, and on the other hand, I think there's some very, very important principles that are at stake here, Dana, and I just want to say I'm very thankful for you allowing me to join you and your fantastic audience on the show.
Well, and of course, and I mean, this is your voting base right here, and these are the people who selected you for the Republican primary. And I mean, I've been seeing the headlines of the Republican Senatorial Committee pulling funding. I saw the headlines of the Crossroads super PAC. When you look at this, because those are a sizable amount of dollars. I mean, do you feel confident that if by staying in this race that you can win this race without their support?
I would say that I'm not very confident at all if we were talking a year and a half ago. But I had an experience. I ran for the Senate, and the Republican Party told me, when you win the primary, then we'll come to your aid. And so we went out to the people in the state of Missouri. And I talked about the fact and our message was the idea of standing on principles, trying to do the right thing, not play the politics, but standing on principles, and also talking about the values of our founders, the very ideas that made America the country she is, and the foundations of freedom itself, and the idea that also that our Creator blessed us with life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and how that all ties in. And that was our message. And we took that message out. We were outspent 10-1 in the media, and all of the pundits were kind of scratching their heads when we won by 6 points in the primary. Well, now what's happened? The party embraced me. They promised all kinds of millions of dollars and all these special people to beef up our staff. And then with basically I misspoke one word in one sentence on one day, and everything changed overnight. And some of the liberal media was sharpening their long knives, and so they've asked me to step aside. The loyalty was short-lived, I suppose. But as I've thought about this is not about me. This is about America, and this is about who we are as a people. And I've been surrounded now by good friends, and they're closest brothers. And I realize that there are many other brave hearts who don't fit into one of our political parties right now.
Right.
And the defense of the unborn and a deep respect for life, they underlie who we are as an American people. And it's not just specifically the abortion issue. It's much more than that. And those things are not things we should be running away from. And I totally and absolutely think it's appropriate to speak of Obama and McCaskill and how they've induced a crisis in jobs and the economy and everything. But it's also okay to recognize that a Creator blessed us with life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And that's the very source of American freedom. And that's a message that moves men's hearts. And it's a little bit ironic, Dana, that this engineer Presbyterian is bringing a message about the heart of the people in America. But I think people are hungry for it.
Right.
I think it strengthens our message.
Do you think that there is obviously, when you came out with your statement that you put on your website and you had it on Twitter as well, you felt that you could have said what you said in a better way.
For sure.
What was it that you were trying to say? I mean, how do you think you should have answered that question that was on that local show?
Well, it was a misplacing of that word legitimate. That was the problem, was particularly that one word. And, Dr. Wilkie has just released a statement, and part of his letter, I think he just really stated it very clearly. He said, of course, Akin never used the word legitimate to refer to the rapist, but to false claims like those made in Roe versus Wade. And I think that simplifies it. And what I tried to do, first off, Dana, was I knew people had been hurt because they had assumed or wanted to assume or by people who portrayed it this way that the legitimate referred to rapists. There isn't any legitimate rapist, none whatsoever. They're horrible criminals, and I have no tolerance for them whatsoever. I have a wife and daughters. I have nothing, no respect, nothing. There's nothing legitimate about a rapist, but to rather, I was putting that in the wrong place, making the point that there were people who used false claims like those that basically created Roe versus Wade.
Right. And that is, I mean, those are, I mean, obviously it's a complex answer that if you can't fit it into a 30-second soundbite, it's almost like you lose. So I want to ask you too. One of the things that I've heard a lot of people discuss is the amount of money that they say the McCaskill campaign gave you $1.5 million to run. Is that true? And are they still supporting you now?
The McCaskill campaign gave me money.
Yeah, the Democrats have given your campaign money.
That'd be very nice if they wanted to do that. We wouldn't turn the money down.
All right, so this. I'm
a little short on money. Anybody who wants to go to Akin, AKIN.org, and help us out on this, it seems that we have lost some Republican support here in terms of many millions of dollars. So people can help us a bit.
Right.
We want to take our case to the people of Missouri. We want to talk about freedom. We want to talk about this beautiful country, what we have in common, what pulls us together, and the strength of America.
Right. And I want to, obviously, I mean, you came from a very safe red district, and this is really kind of like the first time that you've had to battle, especially someone of Claire McCaskill's level. I mean, she's, even though she's completely wrong on everything she says, she's still a very slick politician, and she still campaigns very well. Do you think that your campaign, in terms of, the press, I mean, going on a show like, Charles Jaco's show anyway, do you think it was unprepared for that?
Well, I wasn't really acclimatized to the nature of the new media environment that we find ourselves in. And it was really a dumb thing to do to go on his show. And I feel like I've been hit with a 4x4. And I don't think I'm liable to make that mistake again. But on the other hand, if you really think about the differences here, here's Claire McCaskill is right with Obama on Obamacare. She was right with Obama on the big stimulus bill, which was bigger than if you took all the earmarks for 10 years, multiplied them times 10, it's not going to come up to $800 billion. Been no budget in over 1,000 days. A president constantly ignoring the Constitution and the law. She's wrong on Second Amendment. She's got, I think, an F from the NRA, if I remember right.
Right.
Pro-life, she's not there. She's for abortion all through the entire time of pregnancy, late-term abortions as well. And she's really kind of supported all the big government solutions.
Right.
And
her record is, I mean, compared to a comment, her record, I've never been one to agree that a comment is worse than her record. What do you make of all of the people? I mean, because you have, Missouri Republican bigwigs now. You have, nationally, you have many big Republicans pressuring you to drop out of the race. What do you say to them? What do you say to them when you've seen all of this, come down the pike towards you? Where are you at now with your thinking, and what do you say to all of those individuals who are telling you to drop out?
Well, the fact of the matter is, I believe they were rushed to judgment. I think that they haven't estimated properly what it is that we have to offer and what's at stake here, and being able to stand up for the things that America's founded on. And they were pretty quick. I mean, I talk about one word, one sentence, one day out of place, and all of a sudden the entire establishment turns on you. And I understand they are doing it for noble reasons in their own minds because they understand politics. But that's one of the places how I got where I was and won the primaries, because I didn't pay so much attention to politics. I'm paying attention to what this country's about. I'm paying attention to freedom. I'm paying attention to what it's going to take America back and make the government the servant and no longer the master that it is now.
Right.
To deal with a $1 trillion deficit, we're going to have some starch and some backbone, and we can't run from our shadows every time somebody says something like abortion or this or that. We have to stand up. We have to know what we believe in and give a vision and an understanding of who we are as a people.
Right.
That's where we need to go.
Last quick question I have for you. I know you're pressed for time, and we're coming up on a break here. Yeah, I was, throughout the primary, I don't endorse people, and I don't tell people who to vote for, because I don't want to supplant a nanny state government with nanny state activism. Ultimately, this is your decision. And I've defended the election process because I think that elections do matter. I think they matter nationally, and I think that they matter locally as well. What do you say? Because frankly, I look at the Senate race and I'm worried for you. I'm worried for what would happen, if this 5 p.m. deadline passes and you go forward and you go for McCaskill. I'm worried that the Republican Party would give up on this race. I'm worried that you would have trouble fundraising, grassroots or fundraising online. What do you say to someone like me who's very hesitant and doesn't know where they fall right now? What do you say to convince them that you can win this Senate race and that you can be another red in the Senate and repeal Obamacare? How do you assure those people?
Well, I think that there's a couple different ways. First of all, we still have the thing that I offer as a candidate not only is the fact that I've stood on principle, but I am exactly opposite in my voting on all these different things: Obamacare, stimulus, no budget, Second Amendment, pro-life, big government, their hatred for coal, oil, and gas. All of those things we have totally different records on. Second of all, people who want to pay attention to politics, let's pay attention to politics. What's the polling data say? Latest poll says I was still ahead of Claire McCaskill. Now, it may go back and forth a little bit, but I don't think this thing is lost by any means. I think people, that their loyalty, they just ran for cover at the first time of any gunfire. And I think we need to rush to the gunfire. I think we need to take this battle forward and define and to defend America the way she's always been. Right. And just because they hear the popping of guns doesn't mean you run for cover. And I think they ran for cover too fast, and I'm ready to continue this fight. And I believe that you're going to see us once again standing in the United States Senate, just as we did in the primary, and people be saying, oh, my goodness, look at that.
Right. And ultimately, this comes down to your decision. Have you decided, are you in this race? Are you going to change your mind before 5 p.m., or are you in this race?
No, we've made, let me just make it clear on your program, Dana, that we are not getting out of this race. I'm in this race for the long haul, and we're going to win it.
Well, there you go. Congressman Todd Akin, I appreciate you giving us some of your time. And
thank you very much, Dana.
All right, we'll be watching. We'll be watching all of the spin. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay.